Good morning, everyone. I am here today to discuss to you about social cognitive theory. By the way, I am Camille T. Garcia from Kalanasan, Apayao. So, before we start to discuss this theory, I will show to you this picture and notice what that picture tells. So, the picture one, the teacher shows an action to the children, which the children copying the action. And then, what about this picture? The mother is guiding the child on how to do it. So then, the child also do it by herself. And then, picture 3, the teacher teaches her pupil and then the pupil actively engaging to their lesson. So these are the pictures I will um, showed. And before we start our lesson about cognitive theory, let us first discuss about the proponent of this theory. So, who is Albert Bandura? Do you know who is Albert Bandura? Albert Bandura, born on December 4, 1925. He is a Canadian American. He studied at University of British Columbia and University of Iowa. He researched and taught at Stanford University. He also elected President of American Psychological Association in 1974. He is also famous for research on social learning theory. He experimented Bobodal conducted in 1961. He believed that most learning is gained by people's perception and thinking what they experience. They learn they learn by copying and examples of others around them. So that is all about Albert Bandura. Let us also discuss about the Bobodal experiment by Albert Bandura. Bobodal is like a balloon that is inflated. So this called Bobodal experimented by Albert Bandura, which he used an adult model to observe by the children. The Bobodal experiment was conducted by psychologist Albert Bandura in 1961 to investigate the role of social learning and aggression in children. In the experiment, children observed an adult model displaying aggressive behavior toward an inflated bobodal, such as hitting and verbally express aggression. Sorry. So yung ipinakita ng model is an aggressive behavior like sinipa niya, sinuntok niya at pinagsabihan ng mga masasama. Because of what the children has observed, ginawa din nila yung ginawa nung adult model doon sa Bobodal. Bandura found that children who observed the aggressive model were likely to imitate the same aggressive behaviors when given an opportunity to interact with the Bobodal. So, base ito kung ano yung nakikita nila, kung ito ay maganda man o hindi. Kahit ito ay hindi maganda, kung yun yung na-o-observe nila, pwede din niya pwede din mai-imitate nung bata kung ano yung nakikita niya. So that is all about the Bobodal experiment. And then next is the social cognitive theory. Cognitive theory started as the social learning theory. So, noon, ang pangalan ng theory na to is social learning theory. But then, binago niya no 1986 na ang pangalan niya ay social cognitive theory. In 1986, developed in 1986, and posits that learning occurs in a social context with a dynamic and reciprocal interaction of the person, environment, and behavior. The social cognitive theory is a theoretical perspective in which learning by observing others is the focus of study. This theory emphasizes on the importance of observing and modeling the behaviors, attitudes, and emotional reactions of others. So that is all about the social cognitive theory. So I have here a diagram which explains on this theory the process on how to have a social learning. So first is the modeled behavior. Ito ay nakadepende sa model na oobserbahin ng mga bata, yung kokopyahin niya um, sa paligid. Okay. And then next is the innate person. So that nakadepende, sabi ko nga, nakadepende ito dun sa um, model. Model. Wherein kokopyahin niya yun sa learning environment. So as you can see, nag-interconnect ang model behavior sa learning environment and then likewise with the innate persons. This explains na ang model behavior ay nakikita din sa learning environment. Kung ano yung ginagawa ng model na behavior, ito din yung gagawin doon sa learning environment na nakikita ng mga bata na na-observe nila doon sa learning environment. So that explains about the social learning theory. Then next is there are also three kinds of observation learning. Number one, a live model. Involves an actual individual demonstrating or acting out a behavior. So ang live, ibig sabihin ng live model, ito yung actual na nakikita niya doon sa tao na ino-observe ng bata. And then number two, a verbal instruction model involves description and explanations of a behavior. For example, yung adult model ay tinuruan niya yung bata. And then kung ano yung mga steps na pagturo ng adult model doon sa bata, gagawin din ng bata. So that is all about the verbal instructional model. From the word instructional or verbal instructional. And then number three, a symbolic model. which involves real or fictional characters displaying behaviors in books, films, television programs, or online media. So, ang symbolic model, ito yung mga na-observe natin sa mga books, o mga binabasa natin sa books, films, or even sa TV. Yun yung mga nakikita natin or mga na-observe natin sa social like books. That is what we call a symbolic model. And there are also 4 factors or steps in social learning theory. One is pay attention to the model is a condition for learning. That is what we call attention. So, attention processes are crucial because mere exposure to a model doesn't ensure that observers will pay attention according to Bandura. So the model should capture the observer's interest, and the observers must deem the model's behavior worth imitating. So dapat ay makuha mo yung attention ng mga bata para ma-observe nila kung ano yung gagawin mo doon sa behavior na yun. And then next is retention. What is retention? Retention, remember what the model did, is a condition for imitating the model's behavior. So, ang retention, we can see here if how well the behavior is remembered. For example, tinuro mo sa bata kung paano gumawa ng airplane paper. Ipinakita mo yun sa kanya kung paano niya gagawin ang airplane paper. So then, the children will remember the steps on how to fold it. In this social learning, it is important therefore that a memory of the behavior therefore that a memory of the behavior is formed to be performed later by the observer. So importante na dapat ay mare-remember nung bata kung ano yung mga steps kung paano gumawa ng airplane. So then it goes to motor reproduction. So after remembering what we call retention, so this ability is to perform the behavior. People must have capacity to imitating the behavior. So dito sa step na to is ipe-perform niya na yung behavior that the model has just demonstrated. So kanina, inobserve ng bata kung paano ginawa ng model yung airplane paper. So this time, as the observer remembered the steps on how to do it, he then perform it by himself. So mas importante ang retention kasi dito niya mare-recall yung na-observe niya doon on how to make the airplane paper. And lastly is the motivation. So, ang motivation, people may be motivated by imitating. So, nai-imitate ang dapat na-motivate yung bata doon sa behavior na yon para mai-imitate niya yung behavior ng iba. So that is about the 4 factors or steps in social learning theory. Then next, so there are also an intervention to have this social learning. May mga intervention din sa theory na ito. So, vicarious learning or observation learning occurs when a person is motivated to learn by watching someone else work and be rewarded. For example, you want to be a successful and then madami ka ng nakitang naging successful na sa buhay. So, you are motivated to imitate the models you observe to them. Gusto mo din maging successful like them. Yun yung mga nakikita mo dahil successful na yung mga buhay ng iba, gusto mo din gawin yung buhay nila na naging successful sila. And then next is self-reinforcer. So what do we call when you say self-reinforcer? Self-reinforcer desired outcome a person can give themselves. So you give your time to reward also yourself for your hard work and success. And then next is self-efficacy. Self-efficacy refers to a person's belief about that they can successfully perform behavior that will produce desired effects. Judgment of person's ability or capacity of judgment. Personal judgment of personal capacity. So, ang efficacy, ibig sabihin, ito yung alam mo sa sarili mo na kaya mong gawin ito dahil naniniwala ka sa iyong kakayahan. So, that is what we call self-efficacy. So, there are also 3 forms of reinforcement. So, number 1 is direct reinforcement. Direct reinforcement, for example, in a classroom, narinig nung bata na nasabihan siya ng very good dahil ginalingan niya. So, siya ay mare-reinforce to do it also better. So, it occurs when an individual watches a model perform, imitates that behavior, and is reinforced or punished by some individual. Kung ito ba ay mare-reinforce or mapapanish ba siya doon sa behavior na na-imitate niya or kinopya niya doon sa adult model. So, number 2, vicarious reinforcement. The observer participates receiving a reward for behaving in a given way because someone else has been so rewarded. So, ang vicarious reinforcement, for example, nakita niya yung classmate niya na nagre-review in advance. So, he or she will also imitate to review in advance para mataas ang kanyang grado or madami ang kanyang makuha. And another one, kung nakita din ng bata na binigyan siya ng gift dahil may honor yung isang bata, siya din ay mare-reinforce to do it also better next time para may reward din siya kagaya no isang bata. And then 3, self-reinforcement. The individual strives to meet personal standards and does not depend on or care about the reaction of others. So, ang self-reinforcement without relying others, the child will strive on her own wants for his goods. So that is the three forms of reinforcement in social cognitive theory. Then next, classroom implication of social cognitive theory. So ito yung mga i-apply na natin doon sa classroom natin. Through social learning theory. So teachers should model the behaviors and cognitive processes they want students to learn. And then next, to improve motivation, teachers should also model attitudes that they want students to adopt, such as enthusiasm or interest in material. And then, students must believe that if they complete learning tasks successfully, the outcomes they achieve are meaningful, useful, or worthy of effort necessary to reach them. And then to encourage these beliefs, teachers should create lessons that emphasize real-world applications and relevance of materials to students' own lives. And the next, teachers should ensure that students have the prerequisite knowledge and strategies needed to successful at more complex and rigorous tasks. And then teacher can make direct statement to learners as way to boost their confidence. And then instructional practices should promote students' effort to set attainable goals that clear, specific, and moderately challenging. O dapat ay may challenge yung mga lessons mo para mas lalo silang maganahan na makinig doon sa iyong lesson. And the next is teachers should help students become skilled at self-observation, self-judgment, and self-reaction. So thank you for listening. That's all about social cognitive theory.